Let's continue with the Passover. Talk about some things that we need to know. We spoke yesterday, B'ezras Hashem, about getting ready for Passover, all the preparations, how to prepare the kelim, how to prepare all these things. So also, there's some other things that a person needs to know. What about microwave oven? What is the way to prepare this for Passover? You guys use microwaves? You use it?
Yeah.
Some people use it, right? Okay, no, you're not so staramodny, right? You don't use. You're not okay. That's good. You're moderni. Okay, good. Baruch Hashem. So, what do you do with the microwave? So, the truth is, the microwave is a little bit different than regular oven. Why? Because it works with waves, galim. So it doesn't get so hot like a regular oven. But there is some steam that comes out there sometimes. So the best thing to do, I'll tell you, is to clean it, like clean the walls, take some cleaner, some fluid, whatever, clean the walls, clean everything, nice and clean. If you do that, it's already good enough. Believe me when I tell you. Some people also, in some books they say, take some water, right, and boil it, like in the microwave oven, so the steam will kasher, the walls. But it's not really necessary to do that, honestly, It's good enough just to clean the microwave. Once everything is clean, there's no chamets in there and whatever, everything is good, ready to go, right? That's all you need. Clean the door also, because the steam gets on the door also. All kinds of things like this, right? So once you do that, you can use a microwave and it's not a problem, But the thing is, whatever you do, whichever oven you're using, we talked yesterday about the regular oven, right? Whichever, or toaster oven, if you're using toaster oven, the main thing, is that don't use the same trays, that you're using all year for Passover, right? You have to get a different tray, because this one is all chametz there, everything, right? You understand? That's where the food touches, the tray, right? So you got to buy new trays. Today, Baruch Hashem, we have the aluminum ones, so you can buy new ones and use that for Passover. Don't use the old ones, that use it with chametz, right? This is not allowed to do that. You understand what I'm saying, right? I get the point. So that's what you got to do, get new trays or use different trays for Passover, because those are all chametz. Everything is chametz there. Unless you don't do nothing, there's no chametz there, whatever. Everybody does a little bit of chametz, right? So that's the thing. So once you, as we said, right, the oven is kosher, you don't have to cover, the food, when you put it in the oven. You can even leave it open. It's not really a problem, If you want to leave it open, you can leave it open. You want to cover it, you can cover it. Either way, it's fine, whatever. It's whatever works for you. That's fantastic. What about the sink? What do you do with that? So the truth is, the best thing to do is also to clean it. Give it a nice scrub down with some, cleanser, some soap, whatever. Some people also, what they do is they take hot water, boiling water from a chainik, and they put it on top, like this, That's good to do that. It's good. I don't know if it's a really obligation. I don't think it's really an obligation to do this, but because it's not really like a kli, that you're using to eat from it, So, but anyway, right, some people put also boiling water. They spill over the sink. It's good to do that. I don't really think it's an obligation. So that's how you do.
Somebody cover it.
I'm sorry.
Somebody cover it.
Somebody covers it.
Cover it.
Yeah, the Ashkenazim, they cover it, they cover it. They put something in there. They call it a blech, They put it inside there. It's like a plastic thing. It looks ridiculous. You know what I mean? Who wants this? You don't need this. Believe me when I tell you, it's a waste of time and money. All this stuff. All chumrot. You don't need all these things. The Ashkenazim, they do so much extra things. For Passover, extra. Much more than the halacha. Much more. That they do. This is their minhag, customs like this in their families, by the rabbis, by them, that's the way it is. Okay, great, so that's the way you do. What about the table, right? What do you do with that? The best thing to do, is to clean the table, clean it down, with soap also. And if you want to be even better, right, cover it also with something, cover it. This way, there's no contact with the chametz that was on the table. Like, use something like a clean cover, something you washed it or something new, right? This way, everything is kosher there on the table. No problems with that. That's the way you do. That's the way you do the table. So all these things like this, same thing with everything. The whole house like this, basically like clean it down, make sure everything is clean, right? Wherever the chametz goes, And as we said, right, important thing, you're going to sell the chametz at the rabbi, right? Hopefully you're going to do that. So what's going to be is, that once you do that, you got to put all the chametz in like one place, in the closet or somewhere, This way nobody's going to touch it. Put it in a bag or something, and put a sign on it, something that people know not to touch this thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what you got to do. So this way nobody messes around with it. Put it high, up there, in the closet somewhere, right? This way nobody will touch it. Right? That's the best thing to do. And the thing is like this, right? That selling chametz it's a real thing. It's a real sale. I mean, it's not just fictitious. It's not like a siman. It's real. It's a real sale. So what does that mean? That chametz belongs to the goy. On Passover, it doesn't belong to you. So you're not allowed to take from there nothing. It doesn't belong to you. If you take it, you're gazlan. You're stealing. You can get it. So you have to understand that, right? It doesn't belong to you on Passover. They say, right? Technically speaking, the goy can come to your house, and knock, and say, "Hey, give me this, please. I want to have some Cheerios, some, but he wants to eat. You have to give it to him if he asks you. He's not going to come to your house, right? Nobody's going to come to your house. But if he does, you have to give it to him because it belongs to him. That's the way it is. So you gotta make sure, right, that you understand that. What about if somebody wants to save something, right, for Passover? Some chametz which needs refrigeration, or freezer, something like this, right? He wants to save something like that. What do? So here also, what you can do is put it like separate in the refrigerator, separate. Put it in a bag, put a sign on it, or in the freezer. This way, they know not to touch that. They're not going to touch it. If they see right sign, it says chametz there or whatever, they know not to touch that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, only food.
Yeah, food. I'm talking about food, right? What else do you want? What else is there? What else is there?
Maybe like clothes. What to say?
Yeah. So just put it separately. If you have to save something like that, that's what you do. Yeah.
Rabbi, what happens if you sell it to Muslim? A Muslim don't want to sell it back to you. Say, I want 20,000. What happened then?
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. Why? Because you're not selling it. You understand? You're not selling it. The Rabbanut is doing this. The Beddin. You know what I mean? So let them take care of it. They know what they're doing. Believe me, they know how to do everything. So you're relying on them, not on yourself. You know what I mean? They know how to play those games. They know all those things. They know what to do, what not to do. You know what it is? The reason why the goy comes back, to give you back the chametz. You know why? Because they give him money. They pay him for that. You understand? They're paying him. So it's not for free. So he has incentive. To come back. This is the way what's done. And they usually bring somebody who they know him. He's a nice guy, right? Decent guy. Not some mishuga. Some crazy drug addict. Mishuga. You have to bring somebody normal. Not some antishemi. Some Sonei Israel. Somebody like this, you gotta bring a nice guy, right? Decent guy. There are some decent people, in the Goyim, There are some nice people. You bring in Israel, what they do, right? The whole country, they sell the whole chametz of the whole country, the Rabbanut, Who do they bring? They don't bring some, some Hamas, guy from Hamas, some of this guy, you know what they bring, right? Some Druzi guy, Druzi. The Druzi, they like Jews, they like Jewish, so they know, he's not gonna play games with you, give this guy. He's nice. They like Jewish people. So they know what they're doing. They know how to do it. So the thing is, if you wanna, there's also you can sell your chametz online. If you know how to do that, there are some atarim. Some places there you can sell that. You know why they started to do this? Because when COVID came, the rabbis were not in the shul. You understand? So you couldn't go to the rabbi. The rabbi has a mask. Like it doesn't want to talk to you. That's the way it was. You remember when COVID? Right, the whole thing. There was nobody in the shul. The shul was closed. You understand? So because the shul derech eretz mechila, the shul was closed. So what happened was right that they made online. To sell the chametz online. They had the Rabbanut, they have Chabad. All kinds of things like this. You can go in. So just in case you can't find a rabbi, whatever to sell your chametz, you can do it also online. It's possible. They do it for free.
It's like a fake way. Right?
No, it's not fake because you're making a contract. Everything. You put your name, address, everything. It's all kosher, black kosher. But depends, right? Whatever is more comfortable for you, right? Whatever you want to do. Some people, they don't like to go to the shul. They don't go to shul. So they have to do it by themselves. They don't even have a shul. Sometimes some people near them, near their house, they have nothing. They live far away from the shul, so they have to do something else. That's the way. So it's good to have this service, online also to sell like that. It's a good thing. So fantastic. Okay, great. So let's talk about other preparations, right? So What about the Leila Seder, right? Let's talk a little bit about that. So you have to drink, arba kosot, right? On Leila Seder, of wine, right?
Yeah.
What about grape juice? Can you have grape juice?
Yes, why
You
not?
can, Why? Because grape juice is also called wine. It's called yain,
course.
So whoever, is like old, he can't tolerate wine so much, He's not so strong, so he can drink grape juice, arba kosot, like this. It's not really a problem at all, It's glad kosher, no problem.
I can drink dry wine?
Yeah, sure, but be careful because you're gonna fall asleep, Watch out. Hazak Baruch. You're gonna fall asleep, That's the thing. So you have to make sure you understand that. So what about mevushal, not mevushal? Does it have to be not mevushal or can it be mevushal? So according to Shulchan Aruch, even mevushal is okay. Yain mevushal. What does it mean mevushal? You know what that means? That means it's cooked. They pasteurize it, they boil it. Because why do they do this? By the way, what's the reason why they do it? One thing is because of hygiene, not because of germs. But another thing is also that if a goy touches it, once it's mevushal, it's still kosher. You understand? Yeah. But if it's not mevushal, if the goy picked it up, the cup, right? That's no good. Asur. It's asur to use this, So this is the reason why they make the wines mevushal. So Shulchan Aruch says you can also use mevushal. What's the question? Why would you think that it's not allowed to use mevushal? Why? Why would you think? What's the problem? The problem is like this. That they say when you pasteurize the wine, when you do bishul, it lowers the quality of the wine. It brings the taste down. It's not so good anymore. And that's why they say in the Chazal, in the Talmud, they say right that you cannot bring yain mevushal for libation. For nesech. On the mizbeach. You're not allowed to bring mevushal. Why? Because it's not good quality, not top quality. But for us, for the Passover table, it's not a problem, you can use mevushal. So you can also you can find also not mevushal, some wines like Ramat Golan, this one Yarden, Golan, right? These wines they're not mevushal, so you have to be careful. If you buy these wines, you have to make sure that no goy, takes your wine. Right, exactly. You gotta be careful with that. So be careful, with these things. Mechila, I'm sorry, what are you saying?
I say in the store working goy. Anyway.
So he's asking a good question, right? So you know what it is? When it's closed, the bottle, it's no problem. Only when you open it, you understand? When you open and you pour it out, this is the problem. But when it's closed, doesn't matter how many going touched it, not gonna do nothing to it. You understand? It's only when you open and you close. When you spill it out, when you pour it out, that's when the mevushal problem comes into play. Okay, so Maran, I'll tell you guys, Maran, Rabbi Yoshom, he used to use grape juice, for arba kosot, because he was old, he couldn't tolerate wine. For him, it was not, he couldn't deal with it. 93 years old, 90 years old, So what does he need wine for? So he used to use arba kosot, grape juice. That's what he used. So if you want to use grape juice, especially for older people, or the women, or the children, what's the problem? What, you have to give them wine, the children, to make them drunk? Like shikor? There's no, what kind of thing is that, right? They don't need all that. So they say, I'll tell you guys another thing, which is that they say the most important thing, the mitzvah of the Leila Seder, you know what it is, right? To read the Haggada. Why is that? Because it tells you the masoret, what happened over there. And this way, we can transfer this masoret to our children, to our family, they should learn from one generation to another, right? Arba banim ador Torah diber, right? Torah to talk about 4 kinds of sons, right? So you have to teach it to your sons, v'shinam tam levanecha, right? So you have to tell them, this is the most important thing, to tell the Haggada to your family, to your guests that come to your house, whoever they are, right? You got to tell them so you can transfer the masoret from one generation to another. This is the most important thing, and this is from the Torah, by the way, to read the Haggada on Pesach. It's from the Torah, mitzvah from the Torah, So it's the number one mitzvah, more important than everything else, and that's why they say, That's why they say that what do you call it? You have to make sure that the kids don't go to sleep that night.
Yeah.
You understand? So how do you do that? You give them a nap in the afternoon. Give them a nice 2-3 hours nap. And this way at night they'll be awake. They won't fall asleep. Because otherwise you miss the whole mitzvah there. The whole mitzvah is to teach it to your children. So how are you going to teach it to your children if they fall asleep? That's the thing. So you got to make sure. This is the reason why we do. During the Haggada we do things. With the children to make them like understand something is different tonight, you know? Everything we're doing different, you know? We did this different, we did this different, you know? And you did this with us and not this and that. Why? What's the reason for that? So the children should be curious, you know, and ask questions, you know? Like, what are we doing? What's going on tonight? You know, we're eating only matzah, no chamets, right? Maror, not this salad, right? Not that salad, only maror now we're eating all of a sudden, you know? So the whole thing is, you know, that the children have to be involved with the Leila Seder, you know, not to go to sleep before you finish the whole Haggada, you know. When they finish the Haggada, okay, that's something else, but at least try to keep them up, you know, at least for that much. Give them a nap in the afternoon, this way they'll be up. I'll tell you guys one more thing, we'll stop here. You know, it says, right, that in the Talmud, that Rabbi Akiva, alav shalom, you know, who was a big Chacham, you know, the biggest of the Chachamim, number one, you know, whatever, right? They say when Moshe Rabbeinu, the Ruach HaKodesh, you know, he saw Rabbi Akiva, he told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this one is better than me, you know, he's a bigger Chacham than I am, you know. He says, why did you give the Torah to me? You should give it to him. You know, why did you give it to me? This is the way Rabbi Akiva was, you know. They say that he used to look at the, you know, the crowns, you know, the Sefer Torah, you know, has crowns, right, on top of the letters. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know? So he says he used to look on those crowns, and he used to darshan over their halachot from there. Rabbi Akiva, he was such a big Chacham like this, you know. Can you imagine? He learns halachot from the crowns of the letters of the Sefer Torah. Such a thing like this, you know, such a big Chacham. So they say about Rabbi Akiva that he used to learn Torah day and night, you know, non-stop, you know, like non-stop, right? You know, his wife Rachel, right, sent him to the yeshiva. She told him, go and learn, you know, we don't have no money anyway, we have nothing to do, you know, we have no parnasah, we have no life. Go at least, you know, learn some Torah, do something, you know, let's do something productive, because we're not doing nothing here, you know, you and me, you know, together. You know, so he says, leave me over here, go, you know, and learn Torah. So what did he do, right? He went for 12 years and then another 12 years, came back, right? Another 12 years, 24 years, you know, he learned Torah over there. He was learning day and night, non-stop for 24 years. No wife, no children, right? No nothing, right? No entertainment, everything, just Torah. You know, they say that even Rabbi Akiva, there was 2 times in the year, you know, even though he was learning Torah all day, he used to go out from Bet HaMidrash, you know, leave the Bet HaMidrash. Because otherwise he was always in the Bet HaMidrash learning Torah. Day and night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so 2 of them, right? One was to hear the Megillah, you know, in the Bet Knesset. Can you imagine, right? And the other one was because of the Haggada, to read the Haggada for the family. You know, these were the 2 things. Otherwise, he never left the Bet HaMidrash. So why is this so important? Because the Megillah, right, is Pirsum Enisa, you know, that you have to come to the shul, you know. They say, by the way, you know, don't say with the Megillah, don't say, yeah, you know, I'll just read it at home, you know, with my family, you know, I'll just read it in the Bet HaMidrash, you know, with my friends over there, my Chachamim. No, you have to come, you know, Verov Am Hadat HaMelech, to a big synagogue, you know, with a lot of people, you know, and read it over there, Pirsum Enisa, to publicize the Nes. So he used to leave because of this, and also because of the Haggada. Why? Because you have to teach it to your children, you know, the Masoret, about what happened over there. That's why it's a mitzvah, by the way, Maran used to tell us, Rabbi used to tell us, you know, that you should get ready that night, you know, whoever's going to read the Haggada, right? The papa, you know, the father, right? The grandfather, whoever it is, right? The rabbi is there, I don't know whoever's there. Whoever's going to do, they say you should prepare, you know, like prepare some nice drashot, you know, to say at the table, you know, why? Because otherwise, if you don't know nothing, what are you going to tell them, you know, just, you know, read the Haggada like some kind of a skaska, you know, storybook, you know what I mean? That's not the way it's supposed to be like that. You're supposed to do the drashot a little bit, right? To explain to them all these things, right? And to explain all the things that happen there, you know, and make some midrashim, agadot, drashot. You gotta, you know, make it nice and, you know, good. So this way they can get a good information, good masoret. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ואמן. רבי חנן, אתה שומע? רצה לזכות ישראל, לפיכך חיבר להם תורה ומצוות שאינם דבר חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.